Eagles soaring freely in the sky on the peaks of high mountains were one of nature's most powerful symbols. However, the freedom of this special bird was sometimes tested by dangers. In a world where everything in nature is based on a balance, where the strongest survive and the weak perish, it is a fact that everything is permissible for survival. However, sometimes even nature can ignore even the strongest. In such a situation, a young eagle's life was about to take a sharp turn. The young eagle, who was once thought to be the leader of his flock, was born in that mountainous region where everything began, in an extremely peaceful environment. However, now he was flying in the blue void of the sky in solitude. His wings were almost exhausted, his body was weakened. The eagle had been separated from his flock for a long time, and with each passing day he was getting closer to the brink of death, struggling as if waiting for his existence to end, and struggling with hunger. As the eagle's eyes looked towards the endless void below the valley, he thought that everything would end. He had lost all hope. The other eagles he once flew with had cast him aside along with the winds soaring from the peaks of high mountains and over the waves. Loneliness was becoming more and more painful for the young eagle with each passing day. Hunger and fatigue were practically destroying his body. However, fate had one last surprise for him. The young eagle, who was slowly soaring, realized how tired his body was. Every flap of his wings was like a weight, making it feel that a body carrying such a heavy load was too tired to soar any further. His wings, like his dreams of flying, would eventually fade away. A thought appeared in his mind. How much longer can I hold on? The eagle, soaring from the peaks of high mountains to the bottom of deep valleys, was faced with the fear that everything would end as he flew. The screams inside him, the desire to survive, were hopelessly drowned. The sky now seemed like nothing more to him. The flying eagles were witnessing that. Despite being a powerful hunter like him once, all the potential he had once lost was now left behind. There were human eyes watching the eagle's difficult situation. In the presence of the sky and the mountain peaks, there was someone who felt that something had to be done to save its life. But what could this person do to the eagle? What kind of a person could challenge the rules of the wild and bring an eagle back to life? But here was an ordinary person, Donald Trump. Trump was a leader who had been known for his successes in business and politics for years and had inspired many people. But now he would face nature and one of its most powerful symbols. Trump did not know how important a journey to the top of the mountains could be in reshaping the life of an eagle. But there was one thing: he loved the eagle. Trump had set out on an adventure to the top of the mountains. Although he had little to do with nature and wildlife, he had always admired the power and freedom of eagles. However, this extraordinary encounter would change his life forever. One day, Trump's path crossed with a young eagle that was on the verge of collapse. When he slowly noticed the eagle, he saw that there was almost no hope left on him. The eagle was almost left for dead. It could only breathe, each flap of its wings slowing it down even more. Trump soon realized that something had to be done. Trump decided to pick up the eagle and do his best to help it. But how? Could the rules of nature be tampered with? Trump's thoughts were actually simple. All that was needed was to show love, care, and support to this young eagle. Although this did not always overcome the harsh rules of nature, it could give the eagle hope. Trump embraced the eagle and took it to a safe area with his own means. There, he provided it with food and applied various treatment methods to help it recover. This treatment was actually not only a physical recovery, but also a psychological recovery process. During this process, Trump tried to revive not only the eagle's physical health, but also its spirit. Soon the eagle's body grew stronger and its wings regained their former strength. A change began in his eyes. Now Trump's helping hand had not only given him the strength to survive, but also allowed him to regain his freedom. The eagle was no longer just fighting for survival, but was also finding renewed motivation to fly. An eagle holding Trump's hand had become one of nature's greatest forces. This first section tells the story of the beginning of the eagle's struggle for survival with Trump's determined intervention. But this was only the beginning. The eagle had now joined Trump's life and was waiting for his struggle for survival to become not only a physical but also an emotional journey. Subscribe to take an emotional journey and like our video to help more people hear it. Trump was determined to do everything for the eagle to survive. However, he understood that in order for it to recover and gain strength, it needed not only physical care and support, but also to rediscover its natural instincts and feel its freedom again. The eagle, which began to recover slowly, began to realize that it could regain its freedom in time thanks to Trump's careful and patient approach. Now it was not only surviving, but also on its way to regaining the strength it had once lost. The eagle's state, which had initially been hopelessly floating, struggling with hunger with its weak body, had slowly begun to change. Trump had not only met its physical needs to help it, but also began to create an environment that would stimulate it psychologically and emotionally. Now glimmers of hope began to appear in the eagle's eyes. Trump had managed to reshape its life, but this was only the beginning of a journey. The strengthening of the eagle's body was not limited to simply regaining its ability to fly. Now much more was needed to be able to send it back to its old flock. The eagle had to return to the essence of nature first in order to rediscover its inner strength and courage. Trump was aware of this. However, this was not just a physical healing process, but a spiritual transformation process. Trump constantly observed the eagle during the healing process, carefully guiding it every step of the way. During the time they spent together, he also began to learn important lessons about the eagle's nature. He began to feel the wild desire for freedom within it as it flapped its powerful wings backwards. Trump knew that this was something difficult for a human to understand, but seeing this transformation in the eagle's nature inspired him more and more each day. One day, Trump took the eagle to a high cliff surrounded by a wide area in a safe area. Here, there was an environment that would reactivate the eagle's natural instincts. The power of the wind slowly flowing from the high cliffs reawakened the eagle's sense of freedom. Trump not only fed it, but also accompanied it in its natural environment for a while longer. While doing this, he reminded the eagle of the idea of flying. You are an eagle, it is in your nature to fly. Whenever you feel ready, spread your wings and soar through the sky. The eagle spent a few days with Trump on the cliffs. At first, he was very cautious. He did not feel ready to use his powerful wings yet. However, thanks to the time, patience, and courage Trump gave him, he managed to bring out the power within the eagle again. With each passing day, he began to fly a little stronger. He was transforming from a weak, sick, and starving eagle into an eagle flapping its wings with power, heading towards freedom. The first flight was exciting for both the eagle and Trump. His eyes turned to the sky. The eagle's body language was the biggest sign of his desire to start flying. He slowly spread his wings, felt the wind, and took off from the high peak of the cliffs. At first, he struggled to continue his flight. However, over time, his strength increased and the eagle began to explore the sky with a creativity that soared in the air. Trump watched him carefully, observing his every move. Slowly, he saw the eagle flying and becoming stronger every day. In its first attempt, the eagle did not fly for very long. However, Trump was there to give it courage. Each time, the eagle found a little more courage and felt more ready to fly. Trump always encouraged it by saying, "You are an eagle, the sky is your home." The eagle had begun to feel the power and freedom within its nature. That day, the eagle soared in the air for a long time. Although it flew for short periods at first, its flight time gradually increased. Now, as before, it had begun to regain its freedom. Now, the time it spent with Trump was not only about survival, but also about returning to its nature. Every flap of its wings helped it find the power within itself again. Slowly but surely, with Trump's help, the eagle was regaining its freedom. With each day that the eagle's flight increased, he saw that the desire for freedom within it was becoming more evident. Trump had not only provided it with physical support, but also had become a guide that showed it the right path. After each flight, Trump was proud of his eagle and couldn't wait to send it back to its natural habitat. Under Trump's guidance, the eagle not only completed its struggle to survive, but also its inner transformation. One day, the eagle's flight became almost perfect. Now it was not just a soaring creature, but also a much stronger, faster, and freer eagle. Trump was happy to see this success. "This is your true nature," he said, encouraging it one last time. This process was just a physical recovery for the eagle. It was not only a physical process, but also an emotional healing process. With Trump's help, the eagle had found itself again and mustered the courage to return to the sky. Every flap of its wings, every flight made it stronger and freer. Now the eagle, enjoying its freedom, seemed to soar in the sky forever. This section tells the beginning of the eagle's recovery and freedom under Trump's guidance. The eagle, slowly flapping its wings towards freedom, is now ready to embark on a new journey. As time went by, the eagle's inner desire for freedom and strong nature became more apparent. Trump observed that with each flap of its wings, with each rise, it found more courage and rediscovered its own identity. After each flight, the eagle returned with a greater sense of strength and freedom than its previous flight. This process was an unforgettable turning point in both the eagle's and Trump's lives. The eagle had not only recovered physically, but had also rediscovered its own inner strength and nature. As Trump watched the eagle's transformation with pride, he thought it was time to return to its old flock. The eagle had reached the point where it was developing both physically and emotionally under Trump's guidance. However, the final step in its journey to freedom was for the eagle to return to its nature and realize its full potential by flying through the skies. At this point, Trump thought about taking the necessary steps for the eagle to return to its old flock. One morning, Trump released the eagle safely into its own natural area, the area where he would give it freedom. While feeling the coolness of the air, they watched that moment when the sun slowly began to rise. Trump looked at the eagle one last time and encouraged it. "Your journey has begun. Everything is within you now. You can always come back, but for now, fly and enjoy your freedom." The eagle felt Trump's words in his heart. It was no longer just a healing process, but a rebirth. He slowly opened his wings, cautiously at first, but eventually with strength, feeling the power of nature. As he felt the wind of the air on his wings, he felt the freedom he had once lost but now regained with all his being. As he watched Trump, he remembered the strength of the patience and understanding he had shown him. But now it was time to embark on his real journey. He rose slowly at first, but with each passing second, he felt more and more freedom. He flapped his wings powerfully, using the air currents to soar into the sky. The eagle's eyes were focused on the landscape advancing on the horizon, his mind clear of everything. At that moment, as he flew, it was as if the world was slowly slipping from its place. Nothing could stop him anymore. Thanks to Trump's guidance, he had transformed from the old weak and helpless eagle into a creature who had regained his strength and regained his freedom. The eagle soared upwards rapidly. For a while, he simply soared towards the sky, flying, each movement more relaxed and free. As he looked down at the world from above, everything seemed different. Now he existed only with his own inner power. Trump had shown him the right path, but now his freedom was completely under his control. The peace he found in the combination of air, nature, and freedom made him extremely happy. As he soared through the sky, he began to see traces of his old flock. In the distance, groups of other eagles were flapping. He could feel a great power gliding towards each other. In an instant, seeing them had awakened the flock's desire within the eagle. But at the same time, he was now much more than just a part of it. This moment was a perfect combination of freedom and nature coming together. The eagle stopped at a point close to his flock. He soared there for a few minutes, but now there was a difference. He was not just a member of his flock, but an eagle who had found his own path. Soaring through the sky meant living by feeling all his power, by internalizing the greatest power of nature. What Trump taught him had not only kept him alive, but also made him understand how valuable freedom was and how great his own potential was. With Trump's help, the eagle had managed to survive, but that was only the first step. The real victory was the journey of returning to his own nature and gaining his freedom. From that moment on, the eagle felt the power within him even more as he returned to his nature with every flap of his wings. Wings soaring through the sky, he embraced freedom once more. Now everything was within him. The patience and love Trump had shown had carried him to this point, but ultimately this journey was based on the eagle's inner strength. This freedom was not only a physical victory, but also an emotional and spiritual victory. This experience that touched Trump's life had also given him a new understanding and depth. The eagle's transformation was not only a healing process, but also a teacher. Trump had reaffirmed his belief in the power of nature and the power within man. The eagle had survived, but he had discovered everything he needed to find true freedom. Now, as the eagle flew, he would soar in the sky forever, enjoying the freedom he had gained with Trump's help. This story teaches not only the eagle's struggle to survive, but also a lesson in the power of nature, the value of freedom, and the importance of inner transformation. Trump's role stands out not only as a supporter, but also as a guide who awakens the power within the eagle. And as a result, the eagle not only flies, but also achieves his own freedom and e-potential is reached.